I look like a mess. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video. And today we're Alright, what's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video. And today we're gonna be doing a Godzilla King of the Monsters news and updates. Okay, so this one's going to be a breakdown for at least the Rotten Tomatoes interviews for Godzilla King of the Monsters, maybe the second Rotten Tomatoes interview, possibly the Comic-Con panel interview, possibly another Comic-Con interview, a live Comic-Con interview they did, an extra TV, an ET Canada, and an Access interview for Godzilla King of the Monsters. This will all be piggybacking off the IGN interview we covered last video, so if you haven't seen last video, definitely go watch that one first. So what I'm going to try and do is not repeat myself. Each interview we break down, I'm going to try and snip out all the overlap. Basically, we're just going to dwindle it down as we go through because they do repeat themselves quite a bit in these interviews. But we are going to try and cover all that we can, all the new news we're learning from these interviews, starting with Rotten Tomatoes. This is the one that everyone was freaking out over. Michael Dougherty says that this movie will respect the genre, but they will try and make this movie more mythical than they have been before. Yes, you heard mythical correctly. Basically, what he's saying is that the monsters were viewed as gods once on this planet. Now the monsters are back in the modern world. They're having to adapt to the fact that modern humanity doesn't love them anymore. I wonder if that means that the monsters will have some sort of resentment towards modern humans for not treating them like gods. Maybe the old days, when they were treated like gods, they were totally fine with humanity. They could have coexisted with humanity, but now, nope, not anymore. So I guess we'll just have to see how that all goes. That could be very interesting. Also, it sounds like we may open the movie with a monster fight. I talked in the last video about how that might be a 2014 flashback. And again, I said I'd dedicate a full video to that 2014 flashback theory in the future, which, you know, this isn't quite the exact future I was talking about, but I'm talking about it a little more here. Sounds like we may open the movie with a fight scene. And yeah, this is exactly what I wanted in my 15 things that need to happen in Godzilla 2 videos that I did back in 2014 or 2015, and all the way up until now I've been saying pretty much since the start, I want to open like Gamera 3 with a big fight scene. I think it was Gamera 3, it might have been Gamera 2, but I think it was Gamera 3. Middleditch says that his current character and his Kong Skull Island characters are not related. They're not the same character. They don't have any connection. If you're wondering, hey, who was Thomas Middleditch? Who did he play in Kong Skull Island? He was the guy on the phone that called Brie Larson.
Yeah, it's Jerry. That landside thing? You got it. Hello? It's the Athena, docked in Bangkok, Pier 14, 6 o'clock tomorrow night. I don't get it. Why do you want a gig documenting a mapping mission when you're up to the cover of Time?
In this new Godzilla movie, he's playing some guy whose name I forgot, but he's the communications liaison between Monarch and the government. I really wish I could remember what his character's name was. Something like Sam something. I wrote it down, but then I deleted it. Michael Dougherty says we will see one Kong Skull Island character, just one, return for this movie. Maybe it's James Conrad. Maybe Charles Dance will be playing the older version of James Conrad, no longer Tom Hiddleston. That was something that we threw around back in the days, an idea that we were pitching around a lot. A lot of people still like that idea. I certainly don't, because it doesn't make sense for James Conrad to be a bad guy. He seemed to not be quite on board with the monsters to the level where he's willing to free King Ghidorah and let King Ghidorah destroy humanity. Probably that's not going to be the character we see return, and I'll speculate a little bit more about that in a future video. I hate doing that because I feel like my videos are basically turning into ads for future videos, but I can't put everything into one video, right? Maybe, I don't know who it's going to be. We'll talk about it later. Michael Dougherty says that some life-size props were used for this movie, in particular one giant tooth. I don't know whose tooth it is, but that'll be interesting. I guess we'll look out for it, see if we can spot it in the movie. Vera Farmiga confirms that Emma Russell brings Madison Russell to work every day for some reason. This clears up one of the complaints I had about the picture of Emma and Madison Russell looking at King Ghidorah from the Entertainment Weekly thing we got a while ago, a little bit ago, the initial reveal. I mentioned like, hey, why is she there? Is it Take Your Child to Work Day? Because I don't think she should be there, but it sounds like, nope, she's a little homeschooled girl, and yes, it is Take Your Child to Work Day. She also says that Emma Russell will be working throughout the movie to quote-unquote protect the monsters. I don't know if you're doing too much protecting there, Vera Farmiga. It seems like your character's trying to release King Ghidorah on the world. O'Shane Jackson Jr. confirms that he is really just kind of a pawn for the military in this movie. He is working for G-Team, as we learned in the last video. Now we learn that G-Team is Monarch's Armed Forces Division. It's Monarch's Monster Fighting Division, G obviously standing for Godzilla. Vera Farmiga also mentions monster saliva in this interview. This is her second time mentioning monster saliva or spit or snot in reference to this movie. Needless to say, I'm pretty sure she's gonna wind up covered in it at some point in this movie. Washington was mentioned by Thomas Middleditch in both this interview and the previous interview. The reason I think that's important is because we do see Washington under attack by Rodan and King Ghidorah in the trailer. Michael Dougherty says that they took the original kaijus and made them, quote, modern. So they made them look a lot more realistic for this universe. You know, I'm fine with that. Like I've said in the past, I'm okay with realism in the monster designs. Michael Dougherty also says that this movie will travel the world from China to all sorts of places, Mexico, everywhere, but Boston will be the center location for this movie. We kind of knew this already, that Boston is going to be where the end battle of the movie takes place, but now it's good to have that official confirmation. And then the biggest news of all, O'Shane Jackson Jr. confirms he's a Fortnite player, dude!
Do you play Fortnite as well?
Oh yeah, but Fortnite I can't pause.
You can't pause Fortnite?
Can't pause
No, you
Fortnite.
can't, no.
Fortnite is too
Everything
abusive.
Is live, yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown uses the word youthful to describe this movie, saying that it will have wide appeal to the younger audiences as well. Hopefully they don't pull a show it on us and force a Kenny down our throat. I hope that Madison Russell is a fleshed out character. Meanwhile, Michael Dougherty decided to stress the fact that this movie will be all about the action. They had one word to describe the movie. That was his one word, something like action-packed, which is 2 words, but I don't remember quite what his word was. That does it for the first interview. By the way, guys, all of these interviews linked down below in the description, so you can check out the full things there on your own. The big important thing we learned from the second interview is that Michael Dougherty stated that he won't give an exact number for how many monsters we'll see in this movie, but he says it's more than 4. His exact quote is, we will see a lot of monsters. To be fair, Vogue Roberts could have said the same thing for Kong Skull Island, but in reality, there's really only 2 monsters, Kong and the big skull crawler at the end. But if you were gonna count all the little guys throughout that movie, yeah, there's so many monsters in that movie. You could have said we have like 12 monsters in our movie. Michael Dougherty could be doing the same thing. We have a lot of monsters in our movie, and then it's like the Meganula or something from Rodan. So don't get your hopes up for just a crazy Destroy All Monsters film, especially if the rumors are to be suspected and the other monsters will only have a cameo, which I think is absolutely true. I've said in the past video, we're probably just going to see the Mutos in the 2014 flashback. Maybe we will see Kong in the post-credits scene. You got a whole bunch of monsters right there, right? Maybe we'll see even more throughout the movie, but they're going to be cameos. Don't get your hopes up to see loads of monsters in this movie doing loads of crazy stuff. Now getting into the live Comic-Con interview, Millie Bobby Brown says that Michael Dougherty coached her through a lot of the kaiju trivia, helping her pronounce names and learn about the monsters. Michael Dougherty was also confirmed by all of the cast members to be a huge Godzilla fan. This makes me very happy to know that the franchise is in the hands of people who care about it. It's not just some studio exec or some director who was brought on who has no idea what they're doing. Millie and Vera talk about how both of them worked together and they got very close during filming. They go on to state that this helped them with their on-screen chemistry and helped make scenes together feel very natural. Madison Russell is confirmed to be a homeschooled kid who is living with her mother, Emma Russell. She has grown up not to be afraid of the monsters. I think it's safe to say that for whatever reason, Kyle Chandler's character, Mark Russell, does not wind up with Madison Russell after the two get divorced. I feel like in order to manufacture some drama here, we're gonna have it so that he hasn't actually seen his daughter, Madison, in a while. We'll see how that plays out. Then Millie Bobby Brown goes on to say that Godzilla is scarier than a Demogorgon. She also dances around mentioning that Godzilla has some sort of connection with Madison Russell and that Madison Russell won't view Godzilla as scary. Millie Bobby Brown views Godzilla as scary. I wonder what that connection will be. I hope it's not anything too far outside of what we're used to, and I hope it's not anything like Kong levels. We don't want Godzilla to be humanized to Kong levels, alright? Now on to the extra TV interview. Basically, all we learned from this interview is that the world's threatened by monsters. Yeah. And O'Shane Jackson Jr. he considers the movie to be, quote, nasty, but he means it in a good way, that we will get to see all these monsters fight together. He says that they're something like nasty monster fights. Either way, he's just trying to say it's a brutal movie and it's going to be awesome. The E.T. Canada interview teaches us that O'Sheen Jackson Jr. says that Godzilla is something that he has been wanting to do forever. He will go on to stress that point at his Comic-Con panel. They also confirm my fears that this movie will be very wet. They're always going to be in the rain or near water or something, and, you know, I would prefer to have some, you know, clean scenes that are action-oriented. I don't love having every single scene take place in the rain. Pacific Rim suffered from that. I hope this movie doesn't have too much that happens in the rain, but based off the trailer, it looks like the only thing that we're going to see that happens in the dry is Rodan's appearance. It's a bit of a bummer. He also then goes on to confirm that Godzilla will be able to beat Aquaman in a fight, but duh, I mean, Godzilla took on the Marvel Universe and he won there too, so yeah, he's gonna be Aquaman in a fight. The Access interview teaches us nothing, except that Hall H went crazy for Mothra. That one's a little more Millie Bobby Brown oriented on Stranger Things and stuff like that, but the Godzilla stuff, we only learned that people in Hall H really love Mothra. And then the SDCC panel. Not too much to talk about here. It turns out Millie Bobby Brown had never seen a Godzilla movie before working on King of the Monsters, but she got into the franchise after working on the movie. Vera Farmiga had also never been a big Godzilla fan, but she was big into dinosaurs, so it wasn't hard for her to get into Godzilla movies. O'Sheen Jackson Jr. is a Godzilla collector, which is awesome to hear, so he was all in it. And Thomas Middleditch didn't seem to be too big of a fan of the character, but he also wasn't disrespectful towards Godzilla or anything like that. It's not like he looks down on the franchise, so it's alright. Michael Dougherty obviously is a huge fan of Godzilla based off everything that everyone's been telling us and what he's been telling us for a while now, so hey. Michael Dougherty goes on to say that there will be more surprises when he's referring to the amount of monsters that appear in this movie, but he never flat out states that they're gonna be Toho monsters. That is the big distinction that people aren't making. He's talking about we have all the Toho classic monsters, Rodan, Ghidorah, Mothra, and more surprises on the way.
Yeah, it's like the Toho crown jewels. You have Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and then there might be a few more surprises.
It kind of sounds like he's saying more Toho monsters on the way, right? But he never comes out and says that. He never says, yeah, we have more Toho monsters. He just kind of says, we have new monsters or more monsters in the movie. There's a difference. And I think people who are getting their hopes up to see Gigan and all these characters, and Anguirus and everyone, lower your expectations because you're going to get disappointed. I'm not saying that because I know anything for a fact. I'm just saying if they show up and you have your expectations low where you're like, there'll be something new, and then it's Anguirus, you're gonna be like, heck yeah. But if you're like, it's gonna be Anguirus, and then it's not, you're gonna be disappointed. So maybe try and manage those expectations a little bit more. And then we also find out, which I think is super interesting, humanity won't really trust Monarch because they failed us in 2014. They tried to stop Godzilla and the Mutos, and they just failed. So I understand that. Why would we trust Monarch? They really don't have a great track record, do they? I'm super interested to see how that'll play out in the future as well. The cast is a great freak out after the trailer plays, which is fun to watch. It's good to see all the excitement in the room.
I think so far my favorite part of this panel has been watching these guys watch the trailer together. Oh my God. Had you guys seen it yet?
Shit.
Oh. It was amazing, right? It was so dope. So good. It was incredible.
This trailer actually has been blown up. It's got quite mainstream attention, and I love it. I cannot wait for Godzilla to be a big pop culture deal. Godzilla vs. Kong, my expectations for how that movie will perform, I think it's going to be huge, so I can't wait for that to happen. And then we also learned that the classic Godzilla themes, plural, will be in this movie, specifically Godzilla's theme.
Hi, my name's Jeremy. I just want to say, really excited. This is the reason I came to Comic-Con.
Awesome.
My question's for Mike. I was just curious, are there going to be any of the classic Ifukube themes anywhere throughout the film? And if not, how come, as one did appear in Ready Player One earlier this year?
The answer is yes. We will finally hear Godzilla's classic theme, possibly some other themes. And our composer is Bear McCreary.
What Michael Dougherty's referring to is Godzilla's theme, the actual theme for Godzilla, the one that was used in Ready Player One. That's not my personal Godzilla theme. You know, as a Godzilla fan, as a hardcore Godzilla fan, the theme for Godzilla is this. Or this. The theme that everyone associates Godzilla really wasn't Godzilla's theme until the mid-90s, right? Or I guess 89 sort of used that theme to represent Godzilla, but usually that was like a military theme. So sometimes it was used in the Showa era for Godzilla's theme, like Terror of Mechagodzilla, but for the most part, that's kind of a new addition to Godzilla's specific soundtrack, as in the character's soundtrack, not the movie or the franchise. You know, traditionally in the Showa movies, it was kind of used as a military march, or at least that's how it was intended to be used. But regardless, I'm just super excited to hear that Ifukube's music is going to be back. Hopefully we'll get Ghidorah's classic theme, or not really his classic theme, right? It's more of Rodan's classic theme. But it's associated with Ghidorah for me personally because I can't actually tell you why. I don't know, because it's in his movies always, but it is Rodan's theme. Then maybe we'll get some Mothra music. Fingers crossed for Sacred Fountains. Rodan doesn't have any music that's too distinct for him, but hey, we could get a Rodan song in there that's not the Ghidorah song that's also the Rodan song, right? Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. D-Man, out.